Today we'll be talking about the anatomy of the thoracic region. We'll focus on the thoracic cage, but we'll start quickly by letting us know what the thoracic cage is. Just like the cage of a bird, the cage of an animal, its basic function is to house what is kept within it. And here we have organs that are kept within here. But here, those organs are protected by this thoracic cage. In addition to protecting these organs, this cage also gives attachment to other structures. This is a structure from the upper limb. This is a structure from the upper limb. This is a structure from the upper limb. So, it gives attachment to other structures. Now, so what are the borders? Quickly. Number one, you must know is that this is bounded anteriorly by the sternum, or what we call the breastbone. It bounded anterolaterally by the ribs and the costal cartilages that are attached, and then bounded posteriorly by the 12th thoracic vertebra. So these are the 12 thoracic vertebrae. Now, having said the borders, it's also important for us to go specific to talk about the thoracic inlet and outlet. Now, talking about the inlet, we are talking about entrance into a thoracic cavity. You can see the inlet here, starting with the notch of the manubrum. The manubrum is the head, or the upper part, or the first part of the sternum. So there's a notch here, the suprasternal notch. That is a border of the thoracic inlet. And then the upper part of the first rib. The upper part of the first rib. The upper part of the first rib. And that is the thoracic inlet. But if you are also now, if you go to the back, you see the first. If you go to the back, you now see the first thoracic vertebra. Now, when you go down to talk about the thoracic outlet, you now talk about the xiphoid process. And then the costal cartilages of 8, 9, 10, and the floating ribs. You can see the floating ribs. They are floating. That's the thoracic outlet. Now, what are the contents? The content of the thoracic cavity can be understood in just what I call the formula of 3. If you are able to know 3 of these, you have tried. So the first one you start with are the organs of the viscera. You have the heart, take the central position. You have the lungs on both sides. You have the trachea. You have the esophagus as organs, major organs within them. When it comes to nerves, what are the nerves? You have the phrenic nerves. You have the vagus nerves, which is one of the longest nerves. You have the sympathetic trunk. And these are nerves within this space, the thoracic cavity. What about muscles? You have the sternocleidomastoid muscle and the sternothyroid muscle upper, and then you have the intercostal muscles in between the intercostal spaces. The spaces. What about the arteries? You have the brachiocephalic trunk up. You have the left subclavian artery, and you have the left common carotid artery. And of course, and there are corresponding veins, brachiocephalic veins and all that forms the content. Having known the content, the borders of the thoracic cage, we will talk about anteriorly the sternum, the ribs and the costal cartilages, and then we'll talk about the 12 thoracic as the general border or boundary and the content. Now let's look at other bony components of this. Let's look at other bony components. The number one you must know is the sternum. And the sternum has 3 parts. This sternum or the breastbone has 3 parts. A is the manubrum, which is like the head. The longest part, B, is the sternum, the body itself. And then the smallest part is the xiphoid process. Anatomically, if you take a corresponding line of this manubrum down to the back, it corresponds with T3, thoracic vertebra 3. That landmark is important. We'll come to that later. Then if you take from the beginning of the body, this mark, it corresponds to the T4 at the back, thoracic vertebra 4, correspond there to thoracic vertebra 4, T4. Now, this landmark of T4 is always known as the sternal angle of Lewis. The sternal angle of Lewis is an important anatomical landmark for a lot of structures in the body. And then the xiphoid process, which is the last part, is at the level corresponding to T10.